Hello, good evening and welcome to Prime Business with me, Pius Kojo Baka. So our very first story, senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amoah, has hinted of reputational damage to ADB following the resignation of its board chair over alleged extortion and abuse of office brought against him by a businessman. The directive by the Bank of Ghana is in reference to allegations of improper conduct in a 2 million cedi transaction following the recent petition to the presidency by Collins Dakwa Abuaje. A letter addressed to the board chair of ADB dated 10th October and signed by the head of banking supervision at the Bank of Ghana, JC said the continued presence of the board chairperson on the board has become untenable due to the irreparable damage the development has caused the image of the bank. But before we hear from Dr. Benjamin Amoah, let me share with you a statement from ADB in that regard. And it reads, Agricultural Development Bank PLC, ADB, announces the resignation of Dasebre Ekwamwa Ejapon II as an independent non-executive director and chairperson effective 11th October. Appointed in September 2021, Dasebre, in his capacity as the chairperson of the bank, spearheaded strategies to place the bank on a solid footing for growth. The board, management and staff expressed their appreciation to Dasebre Ekwamwa Ejapon II for his contribution towards the growth and development of ADB. And it goes on to give a further history about the establishment of ADB. And it reads, the Agricultural Development Bank PLC is the leading bank in agribusiness financing in the country, with the one of the largest branch networks of 87 locations nationwide. Reacting to the development, Dr. Benjamin Amoah warned of serious implications for the bank going forward.
The first one is reputational damage. Straight away, for something like this, everybody is talking about it. Everybody is questioning the governance system that exists in ADB. More so where the state has some interest in ADB. And if you go into the shareholder structure, the Bank of Ghana has some also interest in ADB. So, it questions the professionalism at play. It questions the approach to business in ADB, and also questions the extent to which some powerful individuals within the ADB structure can influence decisions. We are just coming from banking sector cleanup, and similar issues were raised and assigned by the governor for the revocation of some license of some banks. So it is strange that for a bank that has been struggling like this, you can identify things like this taking place in such a bank. It basically gives ample testimony about some of the dealings in the bank that is actually trickling down into the bottom line that is being reported by this bank. A few months ago, this bank was under the radar of having difficulties to be merged with NIB. And we are hearing stories like this. It clearly shows that no, the structure, senior management role, and governance has to be looked at again. So it is indeed good the Bank of Ghana is coming through. If you're a depositor, you also have to be worried. The regulator must also be worried because it brings into question whether the regulator did not pick this ahead of time, or the bank itself was able to hide this from the regulator until it got to a point in time where the central bank could no longer keep quiet but had to come out to deal with this issue in the public the way we are hearing it.
Now, the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Agriculture says measures have been instituted to ensure loans given to farmers affected by the recent dry spell are paid back on time. It follows criticism that the approach adopted by the government to offer interest-free loans to the farmers could result in some huge debts to the country. But Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Brian Champon, disagrees.
I can't guarantee the facility for you. We have institutions that will do that for you.
Yes, sir.
But yes, we have, there are a lot of, even SADEP. We have projects by AFDB, ADB, that guarantees such facilities for farmers. The Ministry of Agriculture, we cannot guarantee a facility for farmers. But government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, can say that if you take a facility and truly and really you go into production, that interest component will take it up. But because I need people, I need farmers to produce. Yeah, I'm not Father Christmas sitting here dishing out cash. I mean, even though I want to be, you know, but I need
stops you from doing that.
Right. But I need people to produce because about 32, 34 million people that we have to feed. Okay, so production is our first objective. You know, people. This ministry is ministry of food
And agriculture.
and agriculture. Food. People forget that if people must eat, that is our job, and we have to produce in order for us to eat. So I need to get people to produce, not to dish out cash to them.
So if today I'm a commercial farmer who has been affected, from tomorrow, can I go to a cultural development
Yes.
and word document and get this facility?
Absolutely.
And I don't need to have any party card or be a friend to the minister to get the support?
Why must you?
I'm just asking.
I've been here 18 months. Is it 18 months? Maybe April, so maybe 15 months. I have distributed fertilizer nationwide. Not one person, one on earth, including Ghana, can tell you that the distribution of fertilizers were politicized. Not one person can tell you that the distribution of seeds, rice seeds, maize seeds, were politicized. Food production has nothing to do with politics. When we finish eating, then we can go and do our politics under the tree. But we cannot politicize the food systems of this country. And so we don't do that here. It's not part of our language.
The Chief Executive Officer of the McDan Group of Companies, Daniel Macaulay, says addressing logistical challenges in the freight industry will be required in the successful implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The business executive has already revealed that his transport and logistics firm has acquired 2 vessels that will soon commence a plan to resuscitate the Black Star shipping line, which became defunct after a few years of operations following its commissioning by the Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Now, speaking at a summit in Rwanda, Daniel Macaulay called on all actors to work together in dealing with the logistical challenges confronting the continent.
I think it's about time we find the solutions to our problems. We've been talking about problems, God knows how long now, but I think the trading companies here is to find a solution to the problems. What I see strategically with a trading company is to break all the barriers. I mean, we are the champions of aggregators. We have to make sure that goods actually move without headache. Without the customer having much problem, the last speakers talk about cost. What McDan is doing right now is to start the Black Star line. The Black Star Line shipping company, you all know. We have procured 2 cargo planes and a vessel to start. We're talking about cost. We are talking about the Continental Free Trade. And I can assure you, we don't own the business. Whoever controls the air and controls the sea, controls the business. So it is imperative that that decision is made, and is made right now. And that is what McDan, that's the solution we're bringing into the trading companies. Because what you can see that you move cargo from, let's say, Kigali here to Belgium, to let's say Senegal. The cargo will go to Belgium before coming back to Senegal.
Sure.
And these are real problems, and it increases your cost. If we want the Continental Free Trade to really work, I think we have to find the logistical solutions to our problems. We're also building warehouses across the continent and also make sure that goods move. Right costs, customs, and also at the right freight rate.
We have more from Rwanda because Ghana's national coordinator of the African Continental Free Trade Area is calling for an adjustment of local content law across African countries in order to meet the needs of the African market. Now, under Ghana's own laws, local companies are mandatorily required to be part of a trading or commerce activity of foreign agencies entering the Ghanaian market. However, speaking at a summit in Rwanda, Dr. Farid Kwesi Arthur said the scope of what constitutes local content must be extended to cover all African products and companies.
For the frameworks of the AFCFTA, and for that matter, any trade agreement to work, government is important. Sure. But the practice should be left to private sector. Look, sometimes we are too patronizing with the private sector. The African private sector is a very resilient force.
You have to
20 years ago, they were uneducated and they built the African continent. Yeah. They ran the economy. Today, we've all been to school and we run companies, and we're not doing it as much as even sometimes we're doing it worse than our grandfathers who never went to school were doing. So there is capacity at the private sector level. We in the public sector, what we need to do is to interfere less with the private sector, to remove the boundaries. Take, for instance, we've set up a national entity, the AFCFTA, and yet still the preponderance of national policies is there. We have not started thinking continental. We don't have continental. Most of the issues we are discussing here will only be resolved with continental policies. No longer Ghanaian policy or Nigerian policy or Senegalese policy on this. It has to be a regional thing. And yet you can't solve logistics nationally alone. It's moving goods across borders. The 2, 3, 4 countries must agree. Yeah. So this issue of mixing the non-coherence between our national policies and what would be ideal for the continent is still a very big hindrance.
You're saying governments should interfere less. What do you mean?
Back here in Ghana, She Empowerment Global, a non-profit organization, has expressed their commitment to empower single mothers and women by equipping them with essential entrepreneurial skills to enhance their income levels and uplift their socio-economic well-being. Acknowledging the distinct challenges faced by single mothers and women, the organization says it strives to provide the necessary knowledge, resources, and support to help them establish and sustain their own businesses. There is more in this report. She Employment Global, a non-profit organization, is hoping to break the cycle of poverty and dependency among single mothers and women, especially those aged 18 to 35, by fostering economic independence through entrepreneurial skills and vital resources. Speaking at the official launch of the organization, founder of She Empowerment Global, Patricia Adams Williams, highlighted their unwavering commitment to provide young women with practical skills and knowledge to enable them succeed in today's competitive business landscape.
We will give them access to capital. Recognizing that access to credit is a major barrier, we will establish microloan schemes, saving groups, and grants to provide the women with the seed capital necessary to launch and expand their ventures. We will offer mentorship and peer support, and we will offer advocacy for women's rights. More importantly, I believe as we look at the women here in Ghana, and as I've traveled this week and met so many, more importantly, we want to make sure that we offer them the pastoral skill sets within the church. So wrapping around them all of the resources that are necessary within the church to keep them supported.
Co-founder and country manager of She Employment Global, Ernestina Alandu, tells Joy Business they will be providing incubation support for more girls as much as possible to achieve economic independence.
Next year, by now, we should be celebrating 1 year of success, 1 year of empowering women, 1 year of impact on people's life. And that is the best way for me that we are going to carry our message across. We can book all the media interviews, the message won't go far. But the people we touch their lives will send the message across to even beyond the borders of Ghana. And for me today, I'm so excited. We are looking to touch the hearts of all women in Ghana. But for now, today, or from today that we've been birthed, we are seeking to start our project in the Greater Accra region.
You're still watching Prime Business. We are back with more. Please stay.